World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. This is Tony Rogers, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. I hope all is well. We're almost into spring. You know, it doesn't sound that way when you hear the wind blowing as it is, but we're soon will be in spring, hopefully, for those who love spring and summer like I do. I'm a Juneteenth baby, so I love the warm weather. This is a very interesting show. It's our last show for our Black History Month series, which is actually 365 days a year is of Black history if we taught and teach well. But this is one that I feel is somewhat unique because I have the pleasure of interviewing a brother who is from Senegal. He has had some experiences, however, in America, and one of the most interesting ones to me because I am a City College alumni, and I spent many years, actually, I guess I was an advisor to about 5 presidents at City College while I was with Urban Affairs. But he is also an alumni of the City College of New York. He's currently the New York Consul General for Senegal. And again, with all of the things that are going on, it's important for us to continue to understand that there is a connection between African and Caribbean Americans and Africans. And one of the things through the Tourism Board and through Urbanology and through the Greater Harlem Chamber, many of the organizations here in Harlem, we've always have had that desire and to do those things. Recently, the members of the Senegalese Tourism Board, as well as members of Air Senegal, which now flies directly from JFK to Dakar, met with the Harlem Tourism Board to begin to talk about, and Soul City actually, because of some of the things that we're doing at Soul City, to talk about ways to promote the concept, which is not a new one, of the Harlem Dakar Sister City program. And it has been a wonderful experience in beginning to have the types of conversations that we always wanted to have, but for some reason never really had them on the level that we're talking about now. And one of the major persons responsible for making this happen is our Consul General from New York, Mr. Elhadj Amadou Ndao. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good, Mr. Rogers. Very good to be on your show, and good to see you again.
And I hope I did justice, as I had mentioned to you the first time we talked. The African Americans were not taught our true tongue was taken away from us, and we were taught by poor whites who were the slave masters, and that the slave masters help us actually. So a lot of times when you hear African Americans talk, they have certain accents, and it's really a class thing in some cases. But it's interesting to understand how great we are as a people, because we can now speak in many different languages and understand each other.
Yes.
But I am really proud to know you. I mentioned that before, and all of your accomplishments. But please let some of our listeners know a little bit about you, some things that probably I don't know as to how you got to where you are now.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Elhadj Amadou Ndao. I was born and raised in Senegal, where I did my most of my schooling, primary, secondary, and did some college there. Before coming to New York back in 1995, and then I joined City College in 2000, where I had my bachelor's degree in international relations and graduated in 2004. Since then, I've worked for some NGOs and then ended up at the United Nations in 2011, where I was in the executive office of the Secretary General. Until 2015, that's when I was appointed as Consul General of Senegal here in New York by President Macky Sall, President of Senegal. But in the community, in the Harlem community, I've been here working in grassroots organizations for since 2000. Mainly the Murid Islamic community in America, which has its headquarters on 137th Street and Edgecombe, right there on 46 Edgecombe Avenue. I'm sure you've heard about Bamba Day, or you've seen on July 28th, many African Muslims dressed in white,
yes,
walking along 7th Avenue, along with friends and neighbors in Harlem. Be it from the Caribbean, be it from the United States, the diaspora, and the elected officials come alongside with us and celebrating the beauty of what we share as values, shared among Africans and beyond.
Yes, I do know that there has been for many, many years that type of unity that we hear about. One of the things that I'm happy to be with for Soul City and Harlem Community News, WACR, many of those entities, is to tell other people, because some of these things, they happen, they're wonderful, but they're in a vacuum because we don't always have control of that media source that allows for large numbers of people to understand something that you don't see in the mainstream media. And even from what we're talking about. So the idea in 2022 and beyond is to, in our view, start to begin to control our narrative, to begin to allow for a person like me to speak to a person like you in a vehicle that people all around the world are listening to this conversation. That is where we are, and it is a wonderful thing because I think it's bringing us full circle. Tell us a little bit about your experiences at City College.
Well, City College was attractive to me because, of course, it was, in an environment that I could really find place. I could, fit in as a person, a young Senegalese in the U.S., thriving to learn, and City College offered that. But I think the academic reputation of that school also was one of the reasons why I was there, and the experience was great. We had, of course, great faculty. I think it was, I forget the name of the president, he's African American and was very bright and very open, accessible to the students. But also, what really marked my memory there was when General Colin Powell, where he was Secretary of State, being an alumni of City College, when he came back and had a meeting with us, and really, along with our faculty and other students, put together the Colin Powell School. And it was, really an event that I remember very dearly because, I was there to witness it, and to be alongside U.S. Secretary of State, the first African American four-star general, to be alongside that man and all the values that he represents was very memorable for me. And so it was one of the things that, growing up and hearing, reading, and watching General Powell, as the Joint Chief of Staff, watching that in Senegal, and then, a couple years later, being alongside him to put together, his school in my university was something that was memorable. Yeah.
Well, again, the pandemic has delayed many of the things, especially at City College, that we had wanted to do. But there was supposed to be a special opening dealing with Colin Powell at the college, but the pandemic, created an issue where that couldn't happen as it should. Also, Charlie Rango, Congressman Rango, who was so influential in making sure that the Colin Powell monies were where they were supposed to be.
Yes.
But again, being an alumni of the college, it's always great to see so many people like yourself who have gone through that process and created the type of situation where now, as Planet Forward, you can affect the lives of so many people and also develop that relationship. One of the things that, again, through Soul City and the Harlem Tourism Board is to begin to allow for individuals from the United States to understand how they might be able to return home. We're looking at planning a major trip in June around the Senegalese Jazz Festival, and at the same time create some business opportunities with Air Senegal to help promote the fact that they are flying direct, not only to, and we were talking about some other opportunities in different other countries that Air Senegal will start to fly to, Ghana and all of those places, connecting us in a way that we've never been connected before, to be able to have African-American business persons do business with an airline ran by Africans, and African-American relationships is so unique. I went to Senegal, Consul, and went to Gary Allen, and stood at the point of no return where people, my ancestors, that was the last thing that they saw getting onto the ship, because one of the most memorable things in my life, my mother was with me, and to go to Senegal and go and see that place where so many African Americans and Caribbean Americans went from. And now to talk about going back in a different cycle, you know, on a plane that, you know, that we own, is a wonderful thing. But one of the things I would like for you to do is, because when we see Africa, we see it in different eyes. We see it in the eyes of those who want us to see what they want us to see. But tell us about the beaches, about the investment opportunities, about the things in Senegal that we might not see based on normal media.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Rogers, and you know that's why I appreciate a lot you inviting me to your show, because you know, like you said, I think this conversation had to be going on, you know, long ago. Although it's not too late, we could always find ways to revive, you know, what should have been alive for a long time. You know, I always have had the strong belief that, you know, Harlem should be the point of entry for you know, for Africa to seek investors. I strongly believe that that among us, you know, Africans, the diaspora and Africans who left Africa as adults and who came here, I think if we work collaboratively in an efficient manner, we should be able to gather, to mobilize enough interest, I think, in order to satisfy the Africa investment needs. You know, Africa is not, you know, when we seek partners in investment, sometimes I'm sure people will think it should be a philanthropic activity, but it is not. It could be seen as a lucrative business activity that could yield a lot of you know, profit and benefits. You know, because I mean, Africa is right now being built. Let's remember that these African countries, for the most part, are very young in terms of being able to self-determine. Their independence was acquired in the late 50s or early 60s for the most part. So now, you know, 40 years, 50 years later, going 60, we are now becoming, you know, experienced countries in terms of leadership. We have learned quite a lot, and with the natural resources that Africa has, we are turning Africa to be a modern place where, investors from every walk of life can come in and find interest to invest in oil, in exploration, in, gas, in tourism, in infrastructure. Just today, as we speak, Senegal is inaugurating, a world-class stadium. And the partners who actually built that are from Turkey. And this is a world-class football soccer stadium that was inaugurated by the president of Senegal in the presence of many presidents, that of Turkey, the president of Rwanda, the president of Guinea-Bissau, the president of the Gambia, and the president of Liberia, alongside the head of FIFA, which is the International Federation of football amateurs in the world, FIFA, and the African Cup of Nations. The president was also there. So just to say that, Africa is, I think, offering many opportunities to be investors to take a close look at. Senegal is building its third major highway, and it's being built by American entrepreneurs that actually were in Senegal late last year, in November last year, with Secretary Blinken. Just to say that the opportunities are there, and the variety of the investors, the mix that comes from Europe, from Africa itself, from Asia, from America, is a reality. But what I don't see enough, and what we would like to see, and I'm sure Mr. Rogers, you would love to see that, is to see African Americans seize those opportunities and to be able to compete. And I know that having this type of platform to talk about the perception that was once had about Africa, which is a land of misery and stuff, has of course now faded. Africa is for the most part, all those countries, Senegal for sure, which I can speak of, is very modern country that has its challenges, of course, but has very, very tangible opportunities that investors could look at. You go to Dakar and you name it, be it from major roads, major highways, to oil and gas exploration and production, to refineries, you name it. All many opportunities are out there. In tourism, we have sandy beaches, and we have and the greatest part is that Africa is Senegal is the most westerly country in Africa. And not only Air Senegal does the direct flights, which is great because it's an African country that seizes the opportunity of bringing Africa closer to the other parts of the world, namely America, namely New York. Delta is also doing it. So to say that, I think weekly there are at least 7 direct flights that leave New York to go to Senegal. 7 direct flights. And so just to say that the flux of people going back and forth is pretty substantial. And that, I think it means that the opportunities are there to be thought. And we would love to see African Americans take a closer look, because I'm sure they would, of course, see a lot of interest in investing in Africa, especially in Senegal.
Well, it boils down to education.
I totally agree, and also I wanted to say something that's extremely important. I'm not sure if the Harlem Globetrotters are still around, but I'm sure they'd be proud to know that the Africa Basketball League, the NBA League, the NBA Africa League, I should say, is actually kicking off in Senegal in a couple of days.
Oh.
And it's just because the infrastructure is there. A modern basketball stadium that was built 2 years ago,
Right.
which I know, what's his name again? The head of the NBA, Adam Silver, was there. Actually, I had a meeting with him where we were doing when we were doing the promotion of the NBA Africa League. So just to say that, let's not sleep on Africa. It's actually
Well, that's part of why we're doing this. One of the reasons between Soul City and Harlem Tourism Board and some other components that we're talking with is to begin to have this type of conversation, because there are not many places that can have a conversation like this in the way that we're doing it. And to begin to have more conversations like this allows for a better understanding that we can talk to each other. Many of the investors who come, who are not African American, or not Caribbean American, or not Latin American, have their own mechanisms to talk about how beautiful and how nice it is. Even the jazz festival in St. Louis.
Yes.
It's a great European market, and they promote it. What we're looking to do is to begin to create the type of partnerships where we can start promoting in a way that has not really taken place before. Because what I believe is one of the most interesting opportunities that we have is to begin to actually put people together. As I had mentioned before, this interview is going to be on the Facebook page of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, which has a number of different types of benefits as far as members going. As far as tourism, the Harlem Tourism Board site, and of course Soul City, which is an international national vehicle. So we are beginning to create the situation and continue to create the situation where we can be used as that means of communication. It was funny. We do a lot of work on 116th Street, which is a little Senegal. And I wrote an article about Air Senegal flying directly to the car. And one of the brothers in the market says, I didn't know that. Because you're not seeing that in other vehicles. We have the ability now to do some of those things which never happened before. That's why the beauty of this is, and we just have to take advantage of it and realize it and see how we can make it even more useful.
Yeah, of course, I totally agree. I mean, in other realms, in other areas or groups, going to Wall Street, looking at the companies that do the noting, like S&P 500 and Moody's, and they'll go and take a look at the notes that a country scores to see if it's a country to consider. And perhaps we don't have that culture, but I think having this type of conversation where we can talk as brothers, as friends, as neighbors.
But the other part of it is one of the persons, for instance, that may be on our smaller fan trip is, we talk about people who have expertise. We have the first Black woman that was on Wall Street, Yana Woodhouse, who's the sister.
Outstanding. Now, I'm sure. No, of course.
But what I'm saying though is that
I know that there are so many African American CEOs.
But we have the ability to talk to each other. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. To you have people who um, in the area of marketing that
Yeah,
can take advantage now
I totally
of
agree.
some of the things that we can do.
But I totally agree. But I agree. I know that there is an opportunity to broaden the base.
Yeah.
That's what I mean to say.
Mm-hmm.
We can have this type of approach where, as neighbors, we exchange, as friends, as brothers, we exchange, as we did when Air Senegal was here. I think it was just
Yeah.
us as friends and neighbors, where we talked about, the Air Senegal, doing the direct flight to New York,
Mm-hmm.
and then, of course, looking forward to having, your trip to Senegal, and eventually more brothers from the diaspora leaving Harlem and other places going to Senegal.
I just got a
Via,
text.
via Senegal, of course.
I just received a text of if I wanted to invest, who do I talk to? And I would assume that would be you, Consul
Of
General.
course, you come to my office, and we'll be happy to exchange with you on investment opportunities in details, be it in agriculture, be it in road infrastructure, be it in exploration,
What
be
about
it
real
oil,
estate?
be it gas, be it gold. What's that?
Real estate, because we're going to have
Real estate
two major
is
real estate
booming.
individuals on looking for
It
that.
is absolute. The opportunities are huge in terms of real estate in Senegal for sure. And we are seeing investors coming from everywhere to take those opportunities, and we would love to see our brothers here grab those types of opportunities that are, of course, available.
One of the interesting things, and you alluded to it before when we talk about tourism, we had an event to we've been into COVID, so our events are not as plentiful as they used to be. But we had one at Lundell's. Actually, you were at Lundell's what's before, and I talked with a young lady about going to Senegal, and she said, I would love to go, but I like to go where beaches are. I like to, my vacation. I like to, and it was interesting because I know some of the most beautiful beaches in Africa are in
Yeah,
Senegal.
yeah, beautiful beaches and resorts.
But people don't know that.
Yeah, well, actually, I know Akon knows that. He's actually investing a lot of money on in Senegal on one of the beaches there, where he's putting together a very big complex with hotels and almost a small city.
And the other
So,
thing I learned, you have great surfers in Senegal besides soccer.
yeah, so I mean,
Congratulations for winning the African Cup. I meant to say that when you were talking.
Yes, well, thank you very much. We are actually throning, over Africa right now in terms of soccer. We've been the champions for the past, I think, 2 weeks on the 6th, and we watched the game together. Thanks again for coming
Oh,
to
it was
our
a
watch
pleasure.
party. Yes, and so Senegal is now the champion of the African Cup of Nations, and actually it coincides with the president of Senegal being the current president of the African Union. So it's
I didn't know that.
yes,
That's news. I didn't know that.
yes, indeed. Well, it's a 1-year term, but he'll be this year the head of the African Union. And actually, I was exchanging the other day with May Adams, and I was saying that it'd be great if we could work out a big reception for the president here in Harlem, for instance. Why not? In any case, in New York, where we would see influential people from the diaspora come together and celebrate Africa.
Well, one of the things that actually tomorrow at our we have a tourism board virtual meeting tomorrow. I have to send you information, and one of the individuals who will be speaking is Jasmine Wallace, who is the vice president of marketing for real a real estate entity that is developing the Marriott, the Renaissance Marriott in Harlem. And it would be a wonderful way, because that's going to open in the summer.
I see.
So we'll have a hotel with a major ballroom and different types of activities that will take place. She's going to talk a little bit about that on the show, on our tourism board component tomorrow. So we would be good with the chamber and tourism board and some others, and with the mayor's office. Obviously, if that was a situation, we could put together, I'm sure, a wonderful salute. We the Harlem Week. When I say we, I got so many we's. People might think I'm French, but I have a lot of family or networks. And when Robert Mugabe became the president, we had him. He chose to come to Harlem Day before he went to the UN, because he said at that time that it was more people, African Americans, who were helping him than some of the people downtown, based on their spirit. So Harlem has been many leaders, as you know, Mandela, many African leaders have looked at Harlem as a place that they would go because it represents Black America in many places. So if you go to Harlem, you kind of cover the spectrum. So those are the types of things that are important, and those are the reasons why conversations like this is important. Tell us a little bit about some of the other natural resources that one might be able to invest in, or other types of businesses that one might be able to invest in.
Yeah, well, let me just circle back on and just talk a little bit about what you said about African leaders giving so much consideration to Harlem, and it's actually I think the merit of Harlem as a neighborhood, but also the merit of the leaders of this neighborhood, which is Harlem. I know that, for instance, Senegal, in 2013 and 2012, President Macky Sall has insisted to come to Harlem and go to a church and meet the community there. Just to say, and it was at the Mother Amy Church on 137th Street between Lenox and 7th. You see little Senegal here in Harlem. And the reason why we are one of the very rare consulates or diplomatic or consular office in New York to be in Harlem is because we want to be close to our neighborhood. We want to be close to our constituents, but we want to be close to Harlem, which is, the natural landing point, if you will, to the African people here in the U.S. And in New York in particular. Now, going back to investment back in Senegal, the biggest attraction right now is oil and gas. Gold has been there for a long time, and other opportunities also. But because of the size of the oil well that was discovered in Senegal, that has brought a lot of interest from big companies from the US, from Great Britain, but also from France and other parts of the world. Zircon is also very, very much found in Senegal on the what we call the upper coast. But those could be seen as huge, big, humongous investments.
Right.
But also, not too complicated fixtures like real estate could be found there. Agriculture is also an opportunity that many, even from the US, not too long ago, last year, we were able to come together with a US firm alongside the
I think we might have lost the
facilitate an investment of that U.S. Company in northern Senegal that's investing in agriculture. You know, tourism is booming because business-wise, Senegal is attracting many people from all around the world. But also, I mean, fishing is also another area that could be looked into. But tourism, coming back to that, I was saying that the business is attracting a lot of people from around the world, but also the beautiful and sandy beaches that you have alongside the coast, from Dakar all the way down to the Casamance region, and from Dakar all the way up to Saint Louis and beyond. I think that offers a lot of interest in terms of those who want to come and build hotels, for instance, or resorts where many sun-loving people could come and enjoy the sun and enjoy the beautiful weather and beautiful sea. Also the beautiful culture. I think the richest good that we have is what we call our teranga, and teranga is the hospitality of the people. And I'm sure you could see it here, and it's the same hospitality, the culture that you would see in people of Senegal. You've been to Dakar, and I'm sure you can only confirm that Senegalese people are very, very warm and very open-minded, and are very welcoming, and love to have guests, especially our brothers and friends from Harlem, from the diaspora. And also Gorée Island, of course, being a historic attraction because of what it represents to all of us as Africans, to all of us as members of the diaspora. You know, as you mentioned, the door of no return, of course, is emblematic. And I cannot remember one U.S. president who's been to Gorée Island, be it President Obama or President Clinton or President Jimmy Carter or President George W. Bush. They've all been to Senegal. They've all visited Gorée Island, have been to the door of no return. I have not seen one president who was not emotionally struck by that site. And I remember President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama stood there and stared at the sea in a way to say, you know, there's a part of me that I can feel standing here. So
that must have been a very interesting experience for them to. I have a picture actually standing in that door, so I, from my own personal experiences, know what it feels like. But for the first Black president of the United States to stand there and really see a full circle, that must have been a very spiritual and emotional situation that they both went through.
I agree. It was totally the feeling that we all had, you know, watching that scene develop. And you know, I've seen many leaders in the African American community. Reverend Al Sharpton was there, and it was the same type of site.
Eric Adams was just there not long ago.
Eric Adams was there in 2020. Actually, he was in Gorée Island, and he was actually in Dakar for a couple of days, and it was great to see him go there. And you know, other Reverend Jesse Jackson was there, and you know, many leaders in the African American community have made it there, and of course have been to that historic site, and have had the same type of emotional reaction to.
There's so many other things in working with the tourism component of it. The Pink Lake.
The Pink Lake, yes, it's interesting because I mean the thing that you could do in Senegal, they're so diverse. I mean, the Pink Lake, of course, which is an attraction to many of the visitors and tourists who go to Senegal, and even Senegalese go to see that because it's so unique. A lake that is totally pink when it gets cold, and turns blue at times and turns pink at times, completely pink. It's, I think.
But you can float on it. That's the thing. I think that the idea is that you can lay there and float, and the buoyancy is great. I remember, yes, Ernest from Air Senegal showed me pictures of walking with animals, which I think Matt was happy about that, but I'm not sure whether I'm prepared to walk with the lions and and the like, but they have that attraction.
Yes. Well, actually, in not too far from Dakar, about 80 kilometers south of Dakar. But if you want to have the full experience of a safari, you go to the southeast of Senegal, which is called the Nyokolokoba. It's a park where all those animals that tourists and people would like to, nature-loving people would like to go and see, are there at will and could be, of course, seen in a secure, manner where there is no lives to be risked, and no, actually, and it's possible to get close to the animals without.
I saw pictures of them.
Yeah, pictures walking. Of regular people just getting close to the lions without risking without taking the risk of being bitten or something like that. But just to say that
I prefer the beach.
Yeah.
But I one of the things, however, that again, our new relationship with the Air Senegal and the tourism board in Senegal is that we are able to start forming these types of communications so that people can understand. Believe me, when I talk about education, people, first of all, as the text that I received, the idea of investing in something in Africa is great, but how do you do that? Or what, and what am I investing in? Or some of the myths that we've had as relates to how people live, the mansions and the beauty of Africa is not seen. And this is what one of the goals for our relationship with Air Senegal is to begin to allow for people who are descendants of Africa to understand that this is the time that you can return home. This is the time that you can begin to learn how to make investments. And Ghana is doing a pretty good job. I actually have a friend who just brought property in Ghana because he's a citizen now, because they offer that. But there are many different ways that I'm seeing of a reconnection for us to come back home. And that's why I felt that African American, Black History Month, it was important to have you on, because it's again beginning to look at the full circle, to be able to start having conversations that we've never really were able to have before with the public in the way that we can have now, that allows for people to hear this and to see it. Yeah. And that's extremely important. I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate, Black History Month than having you as my final guest for the month on the show, Consul.
Well, it is a pleasure. You're totally right. It is good that we hold this type of discussion. I think very often, even if we could do it in a setting that is more interactive, I think it'd be better. because then people could, in a live situation, ask their questions that could be answered, and then further exchanges could be taken. I have, my office has organized some economic forums where we've brought some agencies from Senegal to come and talk about investment opportunities in Senegal, and I'll be sure to let you know, because we are actually planning to organize one at the end of the year, and we'll see to what extent, of course, how the tourism board could be a partner in terms of putting the message out there and making sure that our friends and neighbors who are looking for a retirement placement, or who are looking to invest,
right,
or who are looking simply to go to a peaceful place to have a good time and enjoy life, could go, and we'll be happy to exchange on those opportunities.
Yeah, well, I guess in the back of my mind, I will turn 75 in June. So I'm beginning to start looking. When I go to Senegal, I'm going to have my eye out on a retirement location, by the water.
You're looking very good. I'm sure you'll be happy to explore many of the activities that one could do there. And perhaps we'll take a trip to that arena that I was mentioning, where the NBA Africa League is going to kick off, and we'll probably have a one-on-one there.
Well, one of the persons that will travel with us on our fam trip is Richard Cox, and he works with the Rucker people, Bob McCullough and the like, and that connection is also very important, because anyone who was in the NBA, whether it's Dr. J or Tiny Archibald or many others, they all know that you have to go to Rucker.
I totally agree, and I remember. I think when I came to the U.S., I think it was Stephen Marbury who was actually the story, and I think he had to prove that he could make it over there at Rucker. At Rucker before.
I mean, Kareem. They all. There are some street ball players. We just opened Rucker again and redesigned, and Dr. J was there, and he was saying, we were professionals, but they had guys on the block.
That's right. Yeah. No, of course. Of course.
So there are many different connections. One of the things that we are looking to do is to begin to find ways to have those connections, to have forums, such as this. And also invite investors from Senegal to do things in Harlem. As you know, we're looking at doing some things here through Soul City and the like that could become that melting pot where we can have these forums, where we can have a lot of the things that we're talking about. So a lot of things are at work and at play. And it's important that we keep these conversations going, because with vision, tomorrow can be something that we don't understand today, because you have to be able to see past today in order to get there. But I want to thank you for your time.
A pleasure.
Council, to allow for us to have this type of conversation and to start. This is the beginning of our promotional marketing opportunities of having Harlem Dakar come together, and make sure that people actually see this, because one of the great things about Soul City, we're live, but people can go back. We can give links where we can see this information. The next time we come on, and it's pretty much my fault, we're going to have you put all of your contact information where people can reach you. But for now, either Soul City or the Harlem Tourism Board will have postings on their goharlem.org. And if for those who are interested in our first membership meeting tomorrow, you can go to goharlem.org to register. But we'll make sure that we have information about how to reach the council, the general counsel, for those types of issues. And again, it was one of the best ways that I could think of celebrating Black History Month. Elhadj, thank you so much for taking time. And this is just the beginning. We have a forum. This can be broadcast. We can broadcast any place in the world now. So the stadium, all of those things that you're talking about, that can be filmed and broadcast and seen.
Yes, no, totally. I am honored and very happy to be on the show, and especially that it is in the context of Black History Month. It means a lot to me, having spent time in Harlem, in the African American neighborhood and culture, if you will, to be invited in such a platform on Black History Month, and to talk about how to further, if you will, the relationship, and how to strengthen more and more the relationships between Africa and the diaspora, I think is something that I am very grateful for. Thank you very much for inviting me. And like you said, it's a start. It's a start, and we are hoping that it'll continue. And we look forward to many more discussions and many other platforms where, like I said earlier, the conversation or the exchanges will be more interactive.
Well, thank you so much, Consul General. And we will continue our conversations. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
And for Matt McCoy and the Soul City team, thanks for again giving us this platform. We'll be back next week. That's the beginning of Women's History Month. So we have to make sure that we have some powerful women for next month. And again, for those who would like to learn a little bit more about what's happening as it relates to tourism in Harlem, the Harlem Tourism Board will have its first membership meeting for 2022 tomorrow from 6 to 7. You can go to goharlem.org in order to register an RSVP. We will have opening remarks by Ross Levy, who is the executive director and vice president of the New York State Division of Tourism. As you know, Governor Hochul made an announcement a couple of weeks ago of the state putting aside about $480 million for the tourism recovery program for New York State. And he will give a brief overview of that. We'll have Jasmine Wallace, who is part of the Realty Group that is managing and the development of the Marriott Renaissance Hotel that is scheduled to open on 125th Street in the summer. We'll have Winston Majette talking about Harlem Week 22. Nakoa Evans, who is the head of Harlem Park to Park, and Regina Smith, Harlem Business Alliance, and a number of other speakers. So it'll be an hour and a half of very interesting conversation and introductions to some of the people who are doing a lot of work. The last thing is the Harlem Community News this week will be a major edition is Blacks on Broadway. And I want to again give my condolences to the family of Cliff Frazier, who passed. And there's information about Cliff Frazier in this Blacks on Broadway issue. He is one of the individuals that was responsible for many of those blacks being on Broadway. So please pick up the Harlem Community News or go to the harlemcommunitynews.com to see this important issue. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. And again, thank you, Matt McCoy, for all of the help. Take care.
This is Kier Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.